So this section is going to be short. It's not going to be short because men aren't raped or men don't experience sexual assault or because men don't experience intimate partner violence. It's short because we don't have a lot of data on that. We hear things anecdotally, we see things, but there's not a lot of data, and the focus has primarily been on female victims for both of these. So some of the things we do know: men can be raped by other men. Men can be raped by being made to penetrate women or other men. Men can be raped within their own sexual preference. So gay men can be raped by men. Men can be raped across sexual preferences. So straight men can be raped by men, or the reverse. We also know that men in both heterosexual and in gay relationships can actually experience intimate partner violence. Men who are being abused by female partners may struggle with how to deal with that, because if they fight back, if they defend themselves, they're frequently going to be accused of or even prosecuted for assault. If they don't, then they may experience injury. They may also feel ashamed because men are supposed to be strong and in control, and they're not. They're being controlled or abused in this relationship. Men who are raped by women may not identify that as rape, because in order to be made to penetrate, someone has to be able to get an erection. They may not be aware that physical readiness is not the same as desire or choosing to have sex. And so they may have difficulty with that dichotomy. There's also a strong cultural image of men as being strong and constantly wanting sex. And so men who have non-consensual sexual interactions that they did not want, that's rape, but they may be congratulated. In particular, if they're young, if they're still kids, teenagers, and the perpetrator is an older woman. And so there are a lot of factors that change the way men perceive and respond to rape, but also the way that men who are victims of rape or of intimate partner violence are treated. There are very few, if any, domestic violence shelters that even take men. There are very few sexual assault resources for men. So there's a lot of pieces that go into why we don't actually have the statistics. We don't actually have a lot of data. And there also are some extra things that are involved in recovery. So men who've been assaulted or been victims of intimate partner violence have all the same things to cope with. They have the same risk of PTSD and feeling as if they've lost control of a very intimate part of their lives. But also they have that additional layer of the expectations of men in our society on top of that. So be aware that that's an area that needs a lot more research in how to best treat that. There is some evidence, or there's some anecdotal evidence, that men who are sexually assaulted by women in childhood, sometimes that's perceived as having early sexual experience. But if a minor is having sex with an adult, the minor is being abused. So men who are sexually abused by women in childhood may be more likely to be abusive to women in later life. And so that's another area that needs further study. So I just want you, I don't want to leave you with the impression, this section is included because I don't want you to leave this lecture with the impression that all sexual and relationship violence is perpetrated by men on women. There are really other mechanisms and other ways that flows. So in the next section, we're going to talk about some factors that make someone more likely to be an abuser.